You slowly walked towards the Slytherin common room, feeling a mixture of nervousness and anticipation. As you approached the entrance to the common room, you could feel your heart start to beat faster as you thought about the dance practice you were about to have with Draco. Arriving at the door, you took a deep breath and knocked on it gently, waiting for someone to answer.
Tom Riddle opened the door and regarded you with a stern expression, clearly surprised to see you standing there. He spoke in a firm tone. "What are you doing here in Slytherin territory? This area is off-limits for outsiders."
Just as you were about to speak, Draco appeared behind Tom Riddle and quickly said, "She's with me."
Tom Riddle turned his gaze towards Draco, his expression remaining serious. "She's with you?" he repeated, his gaze flicking between the two of you. He seemed skeptical of the situation. Riddle's expression turned curious as he raised an eyebrow at your presence. However, after Draco stated that you were with him, he said simply, "Very well then, you may enter." He stepped aside, allowing you to pass through the door and enter the Slytherin common room.
As you slowly made your way towards Draco, he nodded in acknowledgement. "No problem," he replied gruffly. He then gestured for you to follow him as he started walking towards his dorm room. "Come on, we've got some practice to do," he called out over his shoulder. As you walked up the stairs, Draco muttered to you, "Forget about Tom. He's a bit of a grump, but he won't cause any problems." He continued walking towards his dorm room, his strides purposeful and confident. He could sense the nervousness in your movements and the shyness in your eyes, but he didn't say anything about it. He reached his dorm room and opened the door, holding it open for you to enter. As you entered Draco's room and looked around, you couldn't help but notice how neat and organized everything was. The furniture was placed in a simplistic yet elegant manner, and the room was dimly lit by the soft glow of several lanterns. There was a bookshelf filled with various books, a neatly made bed, and a small table with 2 chairs set up in the corner. The overall atmosphere of the room was one of cleanliness and composure. Draco heard your quiet whisper and chuckled softly as you admired his room. "I like to keep things neat and tidy," he replied, his gaze following yours as you looked around. "Can't stand clutter or mess." Draco nodded in response. "I figured you would be the type to prefer things neat and tidy." He watched you as you continued to look around, a small hint of a smirk on his face. "Ready to start our practice?" he asked, his tone suddenly becoming more serious. As your eyes lingered on the bookshelf, Draco couldn't help but notice your admiration for his book collection. He smirked slightly, finding it amusing how easily impressed you were by his taste in literature. He then went over to his record player and put on some music, creating a soft and steady rhythm to dance to. "All right, let's get started," he said briskly, turning back to face you. Draco took off his robe, loosened his tie, and rolled up his sleeves, revealing his muscular forearms and toned physique underneath his white button-up shirt. His gaze remained fixed on you as he did so, observing your reaction to his actions. Draco could feel your gaze on his forearms as he rolled up his sleeves, revealing his toned arms. He noticed the way your eyes lingered on them, and a smirk played at the corners of his lips as he flexed his biceps lightly. Draco took a step towards you, his movements smooth and graceful. He closed the distance between you, coming to stand directly in front of you, his gaze locking with yours. The soft music continued to play in the background as Draco stood before you, his gaze never leaving yours. He extended a hand out to you, his expression serious yet soft. "Take my hand," he said firmly, his voice low and steady. You gently placed your hand in Draco's, feeling the warmth and strength of his grip as he gently closed his fingers around yours. He held your hand firmly yet gently, his gaze locked onto yours, studying your face for any sign of discomfort or nervousness. As you gently placed your hand on his shoulder, Draco took a step closer, his expression steady and composed. He could feel the slight trembling in your hand, betraying your nervousness. He then placed his free hand on your waist, its warmth spreading through the fabric of your clothing. His grip was firm yet gentle, guiding you closer to him. Draco could feel the subtle shift in your body as he placed his hand on your waist, your nervousness becoming palpable. He noticed the way you tensed up slightly, perhaps due to his closeness or simply because of the intimate nature of the dance itself. He gave your waist a gentle squeeze, his touch meant to reassure you, and spoke softly, "Relax. I'm gonna lead. Just follow my movements." Draco saw your subtle nod of agreement and started to lead you in the dance, his movements fluid and graceful, his hand firm on your waist, guiding you to follow his steps. As you moved, his other hand held yours securely, leading you through the dance with effortless control. His gaze remained fixed on you, his expression a mix of focus and intensity as he led you across the room effortlessly. Every step he took, he made sure to guide you along with him, his body in perfect sync with yours. He could feel your slight hesitation and nervousness, but he was patient, understanding that it would take time for you to get used to dancing like this. As the dance continued, he couldn't help but notice the soft blush that tinted your cheeks, the way your breath hitched slightly as he pulled you closer to him. Despite your nervousness and initial clumsiness, Draco didn't seem to mind. In fact, he found your shyness somewhat cute, almost endearing. With a gentle yet firm grip, he guided your movements, correcting them ever so slightly to match his own. He could see that you were trying your best, even if it wasn't perfect, and he appreciated your effort. Draco's voice was soft yet firm as he spoke. "Just relax. Let me hold you. No biting, I promise." He continued to lead the dance, his grip steadfast and sure as he held you close. He could feel the tension in your body, the nerves that coursed through you, and he tried his best to soothe them with his words and his touch. Draco noticed your gaze flickering down to your intertwined fingers. He tightened his grip on your hand, holding it almost possessively. His touch was warm, and for a moment he allowed his thumb to lightly trace over the back of your hand. It was an intimate touch, one that seemed to hold a hint of something more than just a simple dance partner. Draco could tell that you were avoiding his gaze, your eyes downcast and your body slightly tense. He stopped dancing abruptly and rested his hands on your shoulders, gently tilting your head up so that your gaze met his. "You have to look at me during the dance," he said firmly, his voice taking on a more commanding tone. "I need to be able to see your eyes, your expression, so that I can lead you properly." Draco smirked slightly as he gave your shoulders a gentle squeeze, his gaze fixed on yours. "And," he added, a hint of teasing in his voice, "I can't have everyone thinking you don't like dancing with me, can I? We have to keep up appearances, after all." Just as you and Draco were beginning to get into the rhythm of the dance, a knock on the door interrupted your session. Crab and Goyle, standing outside, were trying to rush into the room, their impatience evident in their eager voices. "Draco, we need to talk to you," Goyle called out, trying to barge in. Draco, maintaining his gaze fixed on you, responded firmly to Crab and Goyle, his voice leaving no room for argument. "I'm busy right now," he replied curtly. "Whatever it is, it can wait." Draco's face fell slightly as he heard Crab and Goyle mention the tailor. He knew that they were right, and he had to attend to this matter. Reluctantly, he stepped back from you, his hands sliding off your shoulders. "Damn it," he muttered, his gaze apologetic. "I have to go. The tailor is here." Draco sighed softly as he walked over to the record player and switched off the music. The room suddenly felt quieter, without the soft melody playing in the background. He turned back to you, his expression torn between wanting to stay and needing to leave. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice slightly strained. "I'll have to go, but we'll continue the practice tomorrow, okay?" He took a step towards you, his gaze softening slightly. "I'll see you tomorrow," he said gently, his tone tinged with a hint of regret. "We'll pick up where we left off, okay?" Draco noticed the slight disappointment in your expression and took your hands in his own. He gave them a gentle, reassuring squeeze before saying, "You're doing great, you know. This whole dancing thing. You're picking it up quickly." His grip on your hands was firm but tender, as if trying to reassure you and boost your confidence. Draco released your hands and walked out of the dorm room with you, his steps purposeful and confident. As he closed the door behind him, he couldn't help but steal a quick glance at you,